Once again, we're discussing US core retail sales month-on-month data, and at the current moment, the forecast stands at 0.2%, whereas the prior figure stood at 0.4% respectively. And just a quick close-up on the historical data. So retail sales rebounded in July, rising 0.6% on growing demand, suggesting consumer spending contributes to growth. The reading was in line with market forecasts, and rising employment, better wages, and cheap fuel increased consumers' activity. Stronger household spending is one of the main reasons for the Fed that plan to raise interest rates this year. Retail sales, excluding autos, increased 0.4%, in line with forecasts after a 0.1% contraction in the previous month, showing a healthier picture for consumer spending. Economists expect retail sales to rise 0.4%, while core sales to increase by 0.1%. And moving on forward, let's take a closer look on what do economists think on the matter. Here we go. And according to that, we have a Bloomberg survey summary where the median estimate stands at 0.2%, average estimate stands at 0.1%, high estimate stands at 0.5%, and low estimate stands at minus 0.3% respectively, and the number of estimates this time has reached 73. So if we'll continue the topic of projection and forecast, so James Picerno from CapitalSpectator.com says that today's update on spending may have a big influence on the Fed, as already mentioned, to hike rates or not. Although the crowd looking for a moderate rise in retail sales for August, the 0.3% increase against the previous month is still a relatively soft number, and one that suggests that the recent slowdown in consumption endures. Retail spending is ahead by 2.4% in annual terms through July, but that's well below the 3.5% year-on-year pace that prevailed through this past January. Let's assume that the 0.3% monthly gain via the consensus forecast holds in today's August report. That translates into a fairly steep 2.1% year-on-year increase, a deceleration from July and close to the lowest level in recent history. In short, today's data on retail spending is expected to provide much support for raising rates. Economists think that consumption will continue to grow, but at a subdued pace. And last but not least, since I have 1 minute left, let's take a closer look on the Dukascopy community member poll and their ideas on the impact on sterling dollar currency pair. And as you can see, the traders went rather bearish this time, 54.32 versus 45.68% bullish. And USF is being bearish, saying that the principal gauge of the consumer spending is retail sales. It's like a key driver of the economic activity. The indicator continues struggling, also with mustered a weak gain of just 0.1%, short of the assessment of 0.4%, and we expect a little change in this release with an estimate of 0.2%, so the sentiment is bearish on the pair. And Khalid Amasi is being bullish. He says that also that it expects a little improvement, and data shows decreasing month to month, but it's consolidating around 0% in the last 3 months, so expected good data should be sterling positive. And that pretty much sums up our fundamental part. Thank you very much, and the floor goes to Max.
Thank you very much, Paulina. Hello, everybody. I hope you have a great day. So, yes, we are discussing the U.S. core retail sales today, the last retail sales data before the Federal Reserve meeting this Thursday. So it is going to be a very important piece of data indeed. Since the expectations calls for an increase of 0.1 or 0.2% in August, It's down from a July increase of 0.4%. We are going to have the negative surprise trading strategy today, negative for the US dollar, because also there are some expectations from big major banks that call for even a decline in retail sales, in the core retail sales in August. For instance, JP Morgan Asset Management says that sales will decline by 0.2%, while Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Danske Bank, and Morgan Stanley say that retail sales will decline by 0.1%. But we will see that in around 3.5 minutes from now. So we have the sterling dollar currency pair for discussion at the moment. This currency pair also has a slightly bullish sentiment. At the moment, a bit more than 52% of all open positions are long right now. At the same time, pending orders are slightly bearish on this currency pair at the moment, so also a bit more than 50% for both 50 and 100 pip range from the current spot price. Concerning the market sentiment provided by other market participants, we see that the situation there is also mixed right now. There is one bearish signal for the sterling versus the dollar from Saxe Group, while on the end daily forex traders are bullish on the sterling and bearish on the dollar at the moment. So if we move on to the current market situation, we see that the pair is trading at 1.5411 level, and of course, in order to project the possible market reaction after the data is published in around 2 minutes from now already, we can have a look at the previous market reactions as usually, and the average reaction for the past 5 months was 42 pips for the sterling dollar currency pair. At the same time, as you can see, last month the reaction was smaller than average, just 19 pips for the cable, because actually the data then was released perfectly in line with expectations. And we also can see the same reaction today if the data is released broadly in line with expectations. So if the core retail sales rise by 0.1 to 0.2%. And therefore, we of course usually, as usual, will go conservative and will place the take profit level some 19, some 20 pips above the current market price. So the first take profit level is placed at 1.5433 level, which is also the level of the daily and the 4-hour pivot points at the moment. And of course, in case the data is released really worse than expected, if we see, for instance, a monthly decline in retail sales, we can also see the pair surging up to the second take profit level around 1.5450 level, so some 40 pips above the current market price. And of course, the first stop loss is placed some 15 pips below the current market price, so around 1.54 level, and the second stop loss is placed at 1.5378, and they will be, of course, reached in case the data is positive for the dollar. And since I have just 20 seconds to go, I will just cover shortly technical indicators, which are pointing to the upside for the sterling also on the 30-minute time frame. But of course, everything will depend on the numbers, on the data, which are very important for the Federal Reserve and for their meeting in just 2 days from now. So I guess we just should receive the numbers in a couple of seconds in the chat section. So let's just wait for them and see what the market reaction is. As you can see, at the moment the pair is not moving really much, so no movements almost at all, so some 5, 6, 7 pips to the downside, because actually we have slightly worse than expected data for both the headline and the core reading. But as I have mentioned already, in case the data was in case data is released broadly in line with expectations, and it's really the case we have at the moment, so a bit worse than expected, but just by 1 point 1/10 of 1%. So it's not a big swing from the expectation, and therefore the dollar is not moving that much at the moment. We see a slight downside reaction on the cable, but the pair still even didn't touch the first stop loss level, so some 15 pips, even less reaction in the first minute after the data is released. And probably I also can check maybe another currency pair, so the euro-dollar currency pair, so you can also see reaction there. So pretty much the same scenario, the same situation. So the pair, the euro-dollar is not moving that much either, but actually the first minute reaction was quite positive for the dollar in aggregate. So I guess that for now that will be all from my side on the technical part for this data release on the US core retail sales. Thank you very much for the attention. I wish you all a great day ahead. See you all tomorrow, and I give the floor back to you, Polina.
Thank you, Max. So yeah, once again, core retail sales in US came out at 0.1. And yeah, you cannot see the Max's reaction. He removed the screen. However, yeah, I guess it's time to slowly roll because we still need to continue with Doc Dow's webinar. Thank you, and see you very soon. And Doc, you're very welcome back.